Before we jump into this video, I just want to say that we are getting dangerously close to 10,000 subscribers, and it is scary. I'm scared. And what that means is that this could be your last chance ever to get in at a 4-figure sub count to the Jimmy Drives channel. So I will never tell you what to do, but it's just something to consider. I'll leave it there. With that being said, I have a long-awaited episode for you guys. About a week ago, I asked you guys to submit your best driving habits, okay? This is the sequel to the first video I made about good driving habits, but this time I'm going to be ranking your good driving habits, the ones you submitted that you said were your best driving habits. Without further ado, let's get into the tiers. This bottom one, there were a few that were trolling, and they were honestly pretty funny, but there are a few that I was concerned were not trolling. And these are the ones I included. I just don't know what you're talking about. Like, I'm not sure if it's a good idea. Respectfully, maybe it works for you. I just don't know. Okay, I don't really condone any of these. But the rest were good. We got on to good work. And the ones in this tier were actually genuinely good habits, like ones I would do. Excellent driving. We step it up. It's like, okay, now you're a pretty good driver. A lot of you guys impressed me with these innovative habits. And at this tier, it starts to get pretty good. I'm impressed. Some of these actually wowed me, where I was like, okay, this is a great driving habit. Like, this is something that I might not have thought of, and this is just amazing. Then we got the top 0.00 all that one, where it's just such a good driving habit that I was genuinely shocked. I was like, wow, my community, we just have the best drivers here. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. The first habit is coming from Fright is Cool. If I'm coming up on a red light in the right lane, which I know I'm not turning, I switch to the left lane because I don't want to block anyone turning right on the red. Wow. Okay, we're starting it off with a fantastic one. This is so selfless. I do this, and I don't think anyone else does. To me, in my head, it's like a niche thing that just nobody thinks about. This is actually the top comment, and I think for a good reason. This is a genuinely great habit, okay? The amount of times, especially with how long these intersections go for, if you're trying to make a right turn at an intersection, you might be waiting for a green for a while. So having that free space to make that right turn is huge, okay? This is a fantastic driving habit. Definitely, I'm impressed. Next, we have Mr. Hands. Okay, so Mr. Hands had a bunch. He kind of went crazy. Like, he had a whole top 10 list. He even had a bonus. Wow. Okay, doing too much, buddy. All right, the one I like, though, at 4 ways, when I can see that another vehicle may reach a stop sign at the same time as I reach mine, I intentionally slow down to let them go first. Another insane, this one is crazy, okay? A lot of people, including myself sometimes, your instinct is to be like, I got to get there first so that I can just go because I have somewhere to be, okay? But to let someone else go first, to be selfless and say, hey, why don't you go? All right, make that clear. That is a great sign of character. I'm so impressed. This guy really dropped a whole essay, but that one just really knocked me off my feet. Absolute top 0.01. Next up, haha, good meme. Mastery of coasting separates good drivers from the best drivers. I have ended traffic jams solo on 4-lane highways by being a coasting god. Okay, no, you haven't. I'm calling your bluff. No, you have not. Okay, ain't no way. But what you have done is brought up a good point. Coasting is really important. A lot of people will ride right on the bumper. And by a lot of people, I mean pretty much everyone in the cities will ride right on your bumper, and surprise, they're tapping on their brakes like 50 times per second. And it's almost like if you left just like a tiny bit of space, you could save so much braking, which would in turn save a lot of traffic. I don't believe this guy's claim for 1 second. Yeah, you're not ending traffic jams. If you are, come to my city. Please come to Vancouver and end them as well. That'd be great. But other than that, he's got a good point. This is excellent driving. I think I brought this up in a video before, but it's a very good habit. Next up, we got John. John, I speed up or slow down a little if I notice someone is driving the same speed next to me. I think this is a good one, right? If you're going kind of slow, if you're like right on the limit, going kind of slow, someone's right next to you going the limit. I call it the wall of death. It's pretty much where there's two cars, they're not moving, and they're blocking a 2-lane road perfectly. Like they're choreographing it. But if you're going a reasonable speed, don't feel pressured to have to suddenly change your speed just because someone wants to pass. If you're going fast enough and it's not on a highway, all right, I'm talking about a 2-lane road, not a highway. If you're on a 2-lane road, no passing lane, none of that structure, you don't have to feel pressured if you're going fast enough. But if you're going kind of slow and there's someone clearly trying to get around you, maybe just be courteous and give them some space to pass. I think this is good work for me. Lieutenant Malachi. Okay, Malachi, what do you got? Increasing your following distance from the car ahead of you at all times is golden. It's golden, guys. More anticipation for braking especially in inclement weather. Malachi, I'll admit, I didn't know what inclement meant, so I had to Google it. You have expanded my vocab. That was correct use of the word, by the way. Just thought I'd give you that validation. This applies to all drivers, novice or advanced. Yes, guys, giving good space is so important. This is such a basic one, but nobody does it. Minimum, just give a few seconds of space. The worse the weather is, give it a bit more. This is a very good one. I'm going to put this in good work just because it's pretty obvious. So I feel like everyone should know this, but thank you, Malachi. Next up, Quandale. Quandale, you are a frequent commenter, so I appreciate you. Watch the car in front of the car in front of you. Watch 2 cars ahead pretty much just to see their pattern so you can predict and there's no surprises. Now, that's great driving. I think that's very good, right? Looking ahead is always good. You don't want to be exactly just reacting to whatever the car in front of you does, like last second. Leave a bit of space like I talked before. Look a few cars ahead. That's a very good driving skill. I think for those reasons, it's just standard good driving. I think not many people look that far ahead. I'm going to put in excellent driving. If you have to merge because it's going back into 1 lane, merge at the first safe opportunity. Don't wait until the last moment. It depends, okay? If it's a zipper merge, you are physically intended to merge at the last moment. But if you're coming on the on-ramp at a highway, a lot of people will wait right till the end, and then they'll start merging, and you've given them space. They haven't taken the space. So in that sense, I agree, and I think that's what he's talking about. I think he would have specified if it's a zipper merge, so I definitely agree with him here. The other thing he says is if someone is trying to pass you in a potentially dangerous area, so if someone's trying to push the merge and maybe squeeze a few cars ahead, instead of trying to be a hero, trying to block them in, goaltend that lane, just don't do that. Please just don't do that. Let him in, okay? It's going to be some E90 driver. I promise you guys, lifted truck driver. You guys know how I feel about them. It's going to be one of those 2 drivers. Let him in, okay? This is actually a great point. I think for the 2-in-1, he kind of hit us with that combo meal. I'm going with I'm impressed. Not staying in others' blind spots for too long. Now, this is a skill that you hear a lot in motorcycling. And in general, if you hear something that motorcycle riders do, it's because they are high-risk vehicles and that they need it. That means it's something that you should probably apply to your own driving if you want to be safe on the roads too. You should actively be getting out of people's blind spots. It's super annoying when people ride your blind spots when you're trying to merge. They see your signal. They just sit there for some reason. Get out of people's blind spots, and also for your own safety and their safety. Not many people shoulder check these days. It sucks, but people just kind of send it. So if you're in their blind spot, they're not going to see you from the mirrors, and only bad things can happen. So I definitely think actively avoiding blind spots is good. It's actively avoiding collisions. It's not kind of being passive and just waiting for a collision to potentially happen. It's being active. So I think for that one, excellent driving. Okay, stopping before an intersection if there is no room in front of me. 99% sure it's the law. Basically, if you want to cross an intersection, but there is a stopped car right at the edge of the other side of the intersection, you're basically saying, I'm going to show restraint and not cross. I'm also pretty sure it's the law. Again, I should research these videos more. Like, if I'm spitting this game, like, I got to back it with some science. But what I'm going to tell you, regardless if it's a law or not, is that the last thing you want to be is that guy who's just sitting in the middle of the intersection when your lights turned red. Only cross the intersection if you are certain there is enough space to make it all the way through. If you think it's at all sketchy and you might not make it through, you might have to brake in the middle of the intersection, just don't go. This one, I think more people need to do. I'd like to see more people do this. I think it's a pretty essential habit. It's good work. Next up, we got Insid. Using my mirrors for a lot more than merging. This is such a good one, okay? Your mirrors are such good tools, not just for merging. In fact, you should be relying more on shoulder check than mirrors for merging. But just using your mirrors to know what's around you is such a good habit. Not going to elaborate too much on this one. If you always have good situational awareness, I'm very impressed. Okay, next up, if my shit's I turn my hazards on. I've seen way too many folks where I live. Right, I love the switch up in the sentence. Like, he starts with like this 20-year-old like trucker language, and then he switches up to like folks like he's some 40-year-old. Like, dude just aged 20 years with that one. Great point, by the way. So basically, he says put on your hazards when you have an issue with your car. No kidding. That's the whole point of them. Sort of harass you a bit there. This is like good work. Like, good work's kind of the bare minimum tier where it's like, yeah, please do that. Flashing high beams on a low vis corner. So if you're going around a corner, you don't know what's going to be on the other side, and flashing your beams, just say like, hey, there's someone here. I would say that's a pretty good one. I wouldn't say it's crazy essential, but it's definitely thinking ahead and not something that many people do, especially if your lights aren't very bright. If you don't have one of those like super bright, modern, angelic LEDs, this is something that I would say is very important. I'm going to put this in excellent driving. Next, we got Brosif. I always hit the limousine stop when pulling up to a red light when there are passengers in the car. It's nice. Now, if you got a bunch of girls in the car, like I know Broseph does, I definitely say it's a good habit. It's nothing crazy. It's not going to impact any safety, nothing. But it makes for a better experience for the passengers, like Broseph says. Next up, we got Dallin. I like to watch Jimmy drives while I'm driving, so that I can drive safer. Yeah, that checks out. Next up, we got Kurt Lee 12. Okay, this guy's about to drop some game. I haven't even read it yet. I know it's going to be good. Not sitting in the... Okay, this is something that I've said 1,000 times, but gonna say it 1,001. Not sitting in the passing lane while driving the speed limit. If Kurt is in the passing lane, he's going at least 10 over and passing someone. Okay, can everyone just be more like Kurt? Get out of the passing lane when you're done. I've said this so many times. I will say it so many more times. I will mention it every video if I have to. Get out of the passing lane when you're done passing. Kurt never misses. I mean, I already knew this was going to be top 0 point. You know what? It's pretty common, but shout out Kurt and shout out people who do this. Here's one. Making sure your vehicle is fully roadworthy. It's not a driving habit, but yeah, I completely agree. Dude, people love to just ride around their broken cars, and some of these fixes are so easy. It's like the most common one I see is a burnt out brake light bulb or a burnt out turn signal bulb. Please just replace that. These are essential communication features of your car, and they are so cheap and so easy to replace. Even if they weren't cheap or weren't easy, they are so essential. There's some people who just, you don't know if they're turning or you don't know if they're braking because their lights are burnt out. I'm just putting this at the bottom of good work. Okay, this is like essential. Okay, next up, Roger uses cop cars to avoid traffic. No. I assume what he means is that when he sees a cop car going through and thus clearing the way, he immediately hops behind and follows. No, don't do that. Let the cop car go. Give some space, and then people can get back on the road. This guy might be trolling. I might have just fallen for a troll. If you're serious, no, please don't do that. Okay, don't follow these cop cars. Let them go by and then get back in your lane like normal. Oh, wow. We are just keeping it going. When it rains, I can drift without burning tires when I'm driving around. So drifting, okay? He also talks about hydroplaning, but on purpose. So like recreational hydroplaning. What? This is insane. Okay, you know what? I just don't know. I don't know what to say. Like, don't do that. Not relying on a backup camera. Okay, so here's the thing. Backup cameras are pretty amazing. But the way he words makes it seem like you shouldn't just rely on your camera, right? You can use it, but don't rely on it. And I think that's a good message. I think the camera is very useful. Some people think they're too cool for the camera. The camera's very helpful. I mean, there's a reason it's mandated in like every car past 2018. It's a good feature. And I think egoing yourself, thinking you're better than the camera, no, it's technology, it's good, but not relying on it. Yes, do your 360 checks, do all that. However, don't take this to be, oh, screw the camera, I'm better than the camera. No, you're not. Okay, Mr. Isaac Henry 8, riding bumpers when there is a short green for turning left and it's busy. Okay, now here's the deal with this. I don't condone tailgating at all, but I think his point here is that you have to hustle on these advanced greens. People have places to be, and you are going to make people miss the advanced light behind you if you are not hustling. I think the overarching narrative here is to be on these green lights. Don't wait for a good enough gap to go, okay? Be on it. I really appreciate the sentiment. Don't ride bumpers like crazy, but I think what he's saying makes a lot of sense. And if you're going pretty slow at an intersection, which I assume you are, being a little close, I think that's actually a fantastic habit. Not a lot of people do this. You could save people so much time if you do this. You know what? I'm impressed. Dylan lets people go on the freeway ahead of him during a merge, both freeway and on main roads. Never race someone for a merge. It's a nerve-wracking Wow. Okay, Dylan, another selfless king right here. He's basically saying to let people go ahead, to not ego, to not think you're better, to not fight for the merge, just to let people go. And I've been preaching this so much. Absolutely top 0.1%. Now, I know it should be a must-have habit, but sadly not giving enough space to emergency vehicles is still a problem. I 100% agree. A lot of people need to learn how to properly yield to emergency vehicles. So the first thing people get wrong is that they just panic when the car's behind them. Follow everyone else. That's it. Follow everyone else. Where they went, you go too. Make sure there's a free lane. Okay? That's simple as that. The other thing people get wrong about this is when you're on the other side of the road, you should also yield, all right? If you're at the other part of an intersection, also yield. You never know if the ambulance needs to make a U-turn. Maybe they need to cut through other lanes on the other side of the road. Maybe they need to pull into a random side street. You don't know. The best and safest way is just to pull over until the ambulance is completely gone. Okay, not enough people understand this. I 100% agree with this. This is such an essential if you can nail this down. I think it's going in excellent driving. Next up, we got hand motioning to other people at stop signs and crosswalks are also good communication habits. Look, I'm a big believer of good communication on the road. I am a proprietor, okay? I don't even know what that means. I'm a proprietor. And at some point, you have to be careful that you're not being some traffic cop, some fire warden or whatever. You're motioning people on when they shouldn't be. A lot of people, maybe this is where I live, they'll try and be nice and they'll just let you go when you don't have the right of way, and it creates way more complication. So what I'm saying is just follow the rules. If someone clearly needs a bit of extra direction, hit him with a hand signal or something, but otherwise follow the traffic rules as per normal. That is the best thing you can do. But still, good communication, good work. Next up, checking left and right before pulling off at lights. This is such a good one. This has been something that's been said to you since you were a little kid. Look both ways before you cross the street. And it applies in cars too. Now, what are the chances when you go on a green, someone's going to come barreling through a red light and just T-bone you? Extremely low. Probably never will happen in your life. But for the one time it does, it can have terrible consequences. So just adopting this habit of looking both ways quickly. You never know who's asleep, who's driving impaired, whatever. It helps so much. It is a tremendous habit to get into. It's quick, it's easy, and it could very well save your life. I'm very impressed. I love that you brought this up. AMM. Okay. Visually inspecting the car before you drive. What are you inspecting for? What are you looking for? If your tire's flat, you'll probably feel that pretty quick. Panels loose, maybe you'd know that. It can't hurt. But if I'm going to work, I'm going to be late. Ain't no way I'm doing a 360 check of my car. I'm sorry. Look, there's good intentions here, but I don't know if it's realistic for everyone to visually inspect the car before you drive. Your oil temp, that could tell you a lot, but visually inspecting, you know what? I respect the intention. Better safe than sorry, maybe. I'm sorry. What are you doing? Next up, luxury driving, smooth downshifts, and brake pedaling. This is kind of similar to the limo stops. Sure, drive nice, drive smooth. No one's in the car. You don't really have to care that much. I liked how he worded it. This is kind of redundant, but I really like the wording. Luxury driving. And then he said brake pedaling. That's a verb. Brake pedaling. Not braking, brake pedaling. I don't know why I included this one. I guess it's good work. Using the horn the right amount. Oh my goodness. If everyone could nail this, we would have stress-free roads. This is such a good one. So here's the deal. There are two types of people, okay? And there's no in between. There are people who use the horn way too much, and there's people who don't use the horn at all. The problem with people who don't use the horn at all, it's a safety mechanism, okay? Someone's cutting you off, someone's putting you in danger, you need to let them know, and you need to communicate them in an abrupt way. But the other side, and this is way more common, is that people use it too much. People use it as a form of rage. Now, if it's a form of communication for safety, absolutely go ham on the horn. But if it is just rage and you're just getting mad that someone cut you off, there is no point. You're just going to stress people out. And unless it was so close that you nearly crashed and you have to let them know, there's just no point, okay? People are going to do stuff to you. You look like the idiot if you're laying on the horn out at rage. The other person just looks chill. But if you can get that sweet spot, there is a sweet spot. I'm getting handsy with this. There is a sweet spot in the middle where you communicate using the horn, but you don't rage. Absolutely such a good habit. If people could actually do this, I'd be very impressed. We got Josiah. When Josiah's in a traffic jam, he stops just before a side road so that people can leave and enter the main road from the side road. I've talked about this before kind of briefly, but this is a specific one that needs to be done more. Leave the gaps, okay? If we have a main road, I'm going to use my hands because I'm too lazy to draw. We have a main road coming up like this and a side road coming perpendicular. Leave some gap for the people in the side road to turn on. Absolutely. Josiah got this down, okay? I can tell Josiah that you're a good driver, a certified good driver. If more people did this, you would save people so many headaches, right? If you're stopped at a stoplight, leaving a gap anyways for a side road, you might as well. Why wouldn't you? What's the point of not doing this? This is certainly excellent driving. Next up, blinking your lights at a stop sign to let someone go when you both stop at approximately the same time. This is again with being selfless and having good communication. This is a huge skill, right? You're ultimately saving more time by doing this, and you're being selfless and letting someone else go first. It's a very kind thing to do. It shows a lot of maturity when you say like, okay, you just go, makes it easier for everyone. And you understand that this will ultimately speed things up in total. I think this is a fantastic habit. I'm going to throw this right in. I'm impressed. Next up, one time my older cousin drove with his knees. So maybe that. I don't know if you read the prompt. I said, give me your best habits, unless you would consider this good. I personally might have to disagree with you there. Next up, literally turning around when backing out of a parking spot and using my eyeballs. Yes, but also no. Like your camera's good. Okay, do a 360 check. First thing you should do before you're changing direction. Do a 360 check, get to know your surroundings, but then use a combinations of, yes, I would say a bit of turning around, but also your mirrors and your backup camera to do the rest of the heavy lifting. I don't think you need to do this. And in some cars, visibility is so bad, the backup camera will give you a better field of vision than looking. I get the intention here. And if you don't have a backup camera, obviously turn around and look, because there are some variables where I'm not sure if you fully meant to just look back. And if you have a camera in your car, I don't know. Certainly not as bad as these ones, but I just don't know about this one. To be honest with you, I think the backup camera, the mirrors, the rear cross traffic alert, if you have that, if you're in a newer car, these are very good tools. And just relying on your eyesight, especially if you're in a new car that has bad visibility, I don't know about that one, Chief. Ending it off with an absolute banger. If I see a yellow flashing light, I speed up. Yeah, man, great job. That was the tier list. That was me judging your driving habits. I had a lot of fun doing this one. If you guys want to see a bad driving one where I rank the worst habits that you've seen, maybe your driving pet peeves, if you want more community involved videos, let me know down below. Maybe drop some comments or some ideas. I do listen to your ideas. When you guys drop ideas for videos, I actually take them down. I got a whole Google Doc with your ideas. I screenshot them. I will give you credit for the idea in the video. So don't hold back. I am a big community guy. I love listening to you guys. So especially if you made it this far, I really thank you. And I will catch you guys in the next one.